also slide back and forth and sideways to let the bones move. Your backbone is made up of 34 bones that fit together like 33 separate joints. This is why you can twist and turn in almost any direction. You can do a somersault or make yourself into a bridge, back up or belly up. It is a backbone. If a backbone were only one bone, you could not do any of these things. You do not put on a scary skeleton suit, and you would not be able to run, jump, or ring doorbells on Halloween if you did not have that skeleton inside of you. So can you guys tell me one thing you learned about your bones?
I learned that there's 34 separate bones in your back. It's not just like one. And that's how we're allowed to like twist and turn on different ways.
Okay. Michelle, what's one thing you learned?
We have 206 bones.
Okay. So now we're going to fill out, if this computer will work, please. We're going to fill out what I want to know more. Okay, so Michelle, can you tell me go ahead and write on your paper 2 things you want to know more about. And then we're going to share. And when you're done, just put your pencils down. Morgan, would you please share with us one thing that you want to know more about?
Like how does our bones like change over time in the sense like they can get stronger or like weaker?
Okay, so how do your bones change over time? All right, and Michelle, would you share one thing that you would like to know more about?
I want to know what the bones are called and why the names are so weird.
Okay. You want to know what the bones are named. All right, so of these 2 questions, we're going to go over one of them. So Morgan, your question was how do your bones change over time? We're not really going to cover that in this lesson today, but I do have some extra books if you want to come see me after class. And Michelle, yours was what are the bones named? Why they're so weird. We're definitely covering that today. So now, there we go. All right, so the jobs of our bones are for protection, because like we have to protect our heart, right? Movement and support, because if we didn't have bones, we'd be what?
A ball of clay.
A ball of clay. And to create red blood cells. And we're going to go over 2 of these things today. The first 2 we're going to go over, and in our next lesson we'll cover the red blood cells. Alright, so we just read that book. Alright, so what's one thing? We already went over what you learned. Alright, so now we're going to talk about Sully the skeleton. This here is my good friend, Sully the skeleton. And we're going to go through and list each of the different kinds of bones that Sully has. And on your tables you have miniature Sullys. Alright? So we're not going to do the worksheet yet, we're just going to go over them, all right? And then as a class, we'll go over the worksheet in a minute. So can you guys point to your skull? All right. Morgan, would you please read the definition for the skull?
The part of the skeleton that protects your brain located at the top of your head.
All right. And your clavicle is your collarbone. You guys know where your collarbones are? All right. Have you guys ever broken a collarbone?
No.
All right, me neither. And it's located at the bottom of your neck, but on top of your shoulders, or your scapula. So your scapula is your shoulder blade. So on the back of yourself, can you guys point to your scapulas? All right, they're located at the top of your back. On either side of your spine, and you have 2 of them. What do you guys think we have? In your body, we have multiple pairs of bones. Can you guys list another pair of your bones? A we have two of the same kind of bone?
Like you have a radius and ulna in both
Mm-hmm.
arms.
Mm-hmm. Michelle, can you list another set?
Your knee bone.
Your knee bone, so patella, that's right. Alright, so now some more. We have our ribs. Where are you guys' ribs? Right there. Michelle, would you read the rib definition, please?
These are the 12 bones located around your midsection. 10 of them are attached to the spinal column and sternum in front. They're not labeled. And then 2 are free floating. This means that they are only attached to the spinal column. The job is to protect your heart and lungs.
Good. Alright, so in your spinal column is your backbone. You all know about your backbone, I'm sure. It helps us to bend over and do some really cool stuff, right? Your pelvis is your hip bone, and they're located at the base of your spine, and it helps to cradle your spine. Without your pelvis, you wouldn't be able to stand up, right? Alright, so your humerus, which is really not funny, because when you hit it, it's not funny, right? But it's your upper arm, and it's connected to your scapula over your shoulder, and your ulna and your radius. Your ulna, Morgan, would you read the ulna definition?
The lower part of your lower arm.
So right here, right? You guys point to your ulna? Yeah, and Michelle, would you read radius, please?
The upper part of your lower arm.
And where's your radius? Yeah, all right. And your metacarpals are just your fingers. They're these really cool things that into your hands, right? All right, so now we're gonna go to the legs. So your femur is your thigh bone, is located at the top of your leg. You guys have mentioned the word patella before, so we're gonna go over that. Patella is your kneecap, and it connects your femur to your tibia and fibula. Michelle, would you read fibula, please?
That's the main bone in your lower leg or calf.
All right, and Morgan, tibia?
The smaller side bone in your lower leg or calf.
All right, and your metatarsals
Your
are like your
toes.
metacarpals. They're your toes. All right, so now we're gonna watch a video. Feel free to sing along if you wish. You don't have to. I might. It's really fun. All right. So. We're having technical difficulties, but we're gonna make it work. Hang on. Worked earlier.
Seldom seen, except each year round.
Alright, you guys ready? And as they label the bows, I want